Welcome to another episode of JustOneFern. We got, oh no. We got a great episode. I don't know what the hell that was. We got a great episode for you today. Lucas is half asleep, eating wire. We got a great show for you today. Later on, we have Marley Striem on to talk about her music. It was a fantastic interview. I was blown away by the interview that we had with her and how she was
Very
speaking about her
Yeah.
songs. It was amazing. Before we jump into things that we're going to talk about, we have our shirts. Our merch is out. When this comes out, our merch will be out. So make sure you go to our Instagram and check it out. I'll put the link there. Go buy all the merch that you want.
Give us your money.
Exactly. Yes, that is the point.
Please.
But we did a t-shirt contest, and two of our fans, followers, one of them was a guest, won t-shirt. Congratulations to Nate Murphy and Sarah Paremba. They have won our t-shirt contest. They will be getting a free t-shirt, but now everyone else can go buy their own. And join me in wearing it's so comfortable and it fits me so well. I looked in the mirror and I was like, hot damn. It's like I look pretty decent. Anyway,
wait, can you stand up a little bit? Give
I
us a
will
little
not
squat?
be standing up.
A little squat for me.
I'm not reliving my DMV experience where I had to squat.
Okay. You look you look good. You look good.
It looks good. I feel it's tight. It's nice. Okay. Let's hop right into shit.
Yeah. Okay. So, Aaron, today was very weird for me.
Perfect.
A lot of times at work, I will sit near a window.
Okay.
First of all, because I get cell reception there.
Okay.
I don't have it anywhere else. And second of all, it's a window. I like to look at things.
Yeah. I mean, that's perfect for you as someone who gets distracted a lot to sit by a place that would be distracting.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you for saying that, by the way.
That might have been the meanest thing I've ever said because it was such a slight. That was bad. I'm sorry.
Anyway, okay, whatever. I'm sitting at the window and I ate my ham sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pulling out my Doritos and I see this guy in the grass. It's a nice day out. Today was gorgeous. It was like 70. And I saw this guy in the grass, like totally soaking it up. Like, he was like laying on his back. He had his hands behind his head.
Nice.
He was just chilling. And then he had his friend with him, and his friend was just like standing there next to him. I'm like, oh, you know what, man? I wish I was chilling like that. Like that seems so nice. And then like I ate a couple Doritos, and then an ambulance comes up, like drives up to them.
No.
And then a fire truck drives up behind, and EMTs and firefighters both hop out of the car and come to this man's rescue. He wasn't chilling.
He was not chilling.
He was hurt really bad. And I'm sitting in the window like chomping on my
Look
chips.
at those guys soaking up the sun, living their best lives. Look at them go.
But the best part is I didn't stop eating my chips while watching. I was like, this got interesting.
That was amazing. That's better than any TV show I've ever seen. Like that,
dude, it was crazy. They carried him off with a stretcher and everything. He probably works with me, and I was just like,
Well, Lucas, that was my first thought is, you work at a school. Why is someone laying in the grass outside of the school?
You had that thought way quicker than I did.
Because I was like, Lucas, this doesn't make sense. Why is there a man and his friend chilling out in the grass?
And what's worse is, this goes along. You know what? I am very distracted. I'm very ADD in that way. Where like I was just like, well, this is interesting. I didn't think like, oh, I work here. I might be able to help.
Mm-hmm.
I might know the person. I don't have my radio on me. Maybe I should get that just in case they're like calling for aid for anything. Mm-hmm. And then I got up. And I'm like, oh, I had that thought like way too late. And I got up and I started walking to go get my radio. And I'm like, somebody could take my spot at the window. And I swear to God, I turned around halfway there. And that was my first thought. And my other thought is, what if I miss something? That's my other what if I miss him getting picked up and put on a stretcher? And I'm like, oh, I'm not going to miss that. I'm not going to miss the show. And I walk back and I start eating my chips again.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Fuck that guy. He doesn't need any help.
I'm here to God. I think I'm a better person than I am because a better person wouldn't have done that.
You are a horrible human being. And this is why you are my podcast co-host.
Thank you.
That's so funny. I can't believe you got it up and like, someone might take my spot at the window.
I was worried.
It's like, is that the only window in the whole entire school?
No, there's a bunch. There's many.
But no one
windows.
has your window. That's the best seat.
No. See, I have my window, and my window's got a good view. And if I miss something by getting my radio, I'm going to be pissed at myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, once you have the view that you want, you don't want to change the view.
Yeah. Well, think about it like this, Aaron. This guy has like 8 people looking out for him right now. I only got me looking out for me right
exactly. Now. There's no way that you could have helped anyway, right? Do you have medical experience?
No.
Then
see,
I would have sat right
that's
there.
That's how I justified it. That's how I justified it, man. I'm like, I couldn't help anyway. They probably. Plus, I'm on lunch. Don't call me. Yeah. Don't ask me for help when honestly, I'm on lunch.
What? The audacity of this man to cause a scene while you're trying to have a nice lunch.
Oh,
and I mean, you clearly have the worst side of it because he gets 2 amazing things. He gets a free tan, and he gets a ride in an ambulance. That's a great day.
There is no equivalent to.
And it was a grown man.
It was a grown man.
Doesn't get to go to work. 3 great things. 3 fantastic
and I had to go
things.
right back to work after that.
Yeah.
Hey, get a job, buddy, huh? How about you contribute like the rest of us instead of taking your leisurely strolls into the gutter, breaking your leg, and then taking a ride on the ambulance, all right?
Were you like when he like drove off in the ambulance, were you just like, turn right back around, start working again? Like,
well, no,
I disregard that it happened.
It stopped happening, and I went, I'm gonna have to ask somebody about that later. And then
you are the laziest motherfucker.
And then I put my headphones back in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, started jamming out, listening to some Curtis Mayfield, man. Mayfield.
Lucas, this might be the funniest story you have ever told me. This is so good. Holy shit.
What's funny is that's the other thing is God. I didn't realize how ridiculous it was until literally 5 minutes ago. Where I'm like, oh, I need to think of something to tell Aaron today. And then I'm like,
it just didn't register in your mind that happened today.
It didn't. Like, I was way too casual about it in my head. Nothing phases me anymore, Aaron. I really think
that's
after
insane.
the pandemic, I'm like, anything's possible. Some guy didn't take him down in a stretcher. I heard about a bunch of people getting piled up in boxes because their dead corpses were too much for the fucking hospitals to handle.
Oh my God.
That happened, by the way.
Which did happen. Which is the truth. So you were in there, and we're making that clip, Kenny. When you're making this clip, you better put in. Someone might take my spot at the window, because that is my new favorite quote that you have ever said. Because I mean, it transfers over to life too. If you move your feet, lose your seat. That's how it works.
No truer words have been said.
That's just how it works. That's like dibs. It's a universal rule.
I
don't know how I'm gonna like top your story. I can't
follow this up with something. What do you got?
There's no way that I can even follow this up. But it's a little embarrassing. I got a really, really bad haircut. And
I thought you just liked it like that.
Yeah, so that's different. No, I deserve that for what I said earlier. Okay, so, I don't know if you can see this, but there's like this chunk out of my hair here. It's like a whole chunk, but I did that myself because I got my hair cut. No. I got my hair cut.
You thought you could fix it.
And there was something wrong with it. And I thought to myself, I have clippers. It's just this little tiny spot. I can get it. It's totally fine. And boy, was I wrong.
Can you show me?
What?
Can you turn it, like, really turn it towards the camera?
It's like, yeah.
Oh, I see. You have tried to cover it up.
Yes.
Wait, is this the same? I remember because you not narrated, you like commentated for the Fredonia Chess Gambit.
Yes.
This past
Which
weekend.
everyone should go watch, by the way. It's it's fun. It was a great time.
It's really cool.
Kenny Holler, who is, by the way, I should do this. I should shout out Kenny. Kenny is now on as our video editor. We're so happy to have him a part of the JustOneFern team. Thank you so much for hopping on. But he also has a podcast called Give Me a Holler. You should go check that out. But he's doing a Fredonia Gambit of chess tournament. And Lucas is in it, and I was a commentator for it. I got to roast Lucas for his games, and it was amazing. It was a great time.
He was a little harsh, but that's okay.
Yeah.
You know what? If anyone's gonna be harsh, I want it to be you, Aaron.
Well, thank you.
But yeah, Kenny's amazing. So definitely go check out all of his stuff. I love him to death. But during when you were commentating, I could tell you were really nervous about one little spike of hair in the back. Obviously, like this. Mm-hmm. You see, like this right here. I got.
Yeah.
You were working on that for like 5 minutes. I saw you like.
I was, and the thing is, this was pre-haircut.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's when you decided.
So. Yeah, that's basically what it was. I was like, oh man, if it's poking over the top of my headphones, I gotta get a haircut. And so I did. And the thing is, I haven't found a barber yet. Like, I haven't found my place to go to like a really good barber. So.
Oh, and your new spot.
Yes, but like I said, I tried to fix it, and it ended up. I did it, and I was like, oh no, like I was so nervous. But I immediately told myself, I'm like, well. The only people who see you are people you see at soccer. Mm-hmm. And if people are seeing you, you're straight on a camera. So
honestly, Aaron, even when you turned your head, it doesn't look that bad.
Well,
like I can't even
actually
tell.
Needed to hear that, so thank you.
Honestly, if you hadn't said anything, I would never.
It's like with my teeth.
Yeah, I didn't know
you don't notice my teeth.
Gap in your teeth.
I have a gap in my front teeth, and I hate it so much, but nobody notices it until I point it out. So everyone's gonna go back now and be like, "Oh my God, wait, he does." It's like when you find out that Tom Cruise has that one tooth in the middle of his face instead of the two.
So fucked up.
Isn't it crazy?
That exists. It's not right.
It's so messed up.
He is such a weird individual. I think
he is.
I think that Tom Cruise could be a robot, and that wouldn't surprise me.
He probably is.
Like a wax figurine come to life.
Yeah.
He looks preserved already. I don't know why. Like his blood
the mummy.
is
He is
just,
the mummy.
He is. Yeah. He played the mummy in The Mummy. Mm-hmm. His counterpart, because he's a dual personality. Mm-hmm. He's also The Rock. Surprisingly, people don't know this about Tom
He's
Cruise,
inside the rock, controlling the Rock.
It's a bodysuit that he puts.
I wonder if they'll have that in the new The Rock show, The Young Rock.
Is there a new Rock show?
It gets to a point.
The Pebble.
Where Tom Cruise kills Young Rock and becomes him.
He skins him.
Oh, that's worse.
It's like Jeepers Creepers, man.
Jeepers Creepers.
With Justin Long, the best actor of all time.
Justin Long's amazing. I love him.
Are you serious?
No.
Are you agreeing with me? Yeah, I think so. No one agrees with me on that.
I do think he's funny though. Long. I love him in New Girl. He's funny in New Girl. He's great. He's also in Dodgeball, which we just talked about earlier.
He's great in Dodgeball.
He's amazing in Dodgeball.
He's well, that's the thing, is he's so mediocre.
Yeah.
It rings too true to like what real life is like.
Well, that's all of his characters. All of his
he
characters
doesn't mean to do
like,
I don't think.
Are very awkward, and that's
he's like a D tier Paul Rudd,
Oh, that's a great way to put it. I think that's a good.
Thank you.
Good way to put it. But yeah. So anyway, back to my hair. What we were originally talking about. You know what? I want you to choke on that after jumping in on my hair story. I can't believe this.
I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
And to finish the hair story, I will say, I can't wait till I get my next one. Anyway, let's move on, Lucas.
Okay. All right, Aaron. I am ready to give you a new pitch. It's been a while.
It's been a long time. I'm excited.
And I think I think it's crazy that I haven't heard anybody mention this before.
Okay.
And I want you.
Well, I haven't
right
heard
now-
anyone mention that crazy story earlier, so I'm hoping this might. I wonder if this will
all
top it.
original, baby, all original. Okay, so I want you to pull up a picture of the United States, like Google map of the United States,
Okay.
and tell me when you have that pulled up, because you're gonna you need to be looking at it in order to understand what I'm about to tell you.
Okay, I got it.
You got it up?
Yep.
Okay. You know how I don't think it's a coincidence that the United States is a very, like, we're known for our hamburgers, right? We're known for our cows, our beef.
Yeah.
Right? And follow me on this.
Okay.
I think that the continental United States is in the shape of a cow mooing, with Maine being the head of the cow, and Florida and Texas being its legs, and California, Nevada, Utah area being a gigantic ass. Look at it. Do you see it?
Look at. I just like choked on my own spit.
Do you see it? Tell me you see it.
I get a little bit. Yes, I do see it. But what is this a pitch for? This is like you said this is a Lucas pitch. What are you pitching to me?
I am pitching that there is conspiracy.
Okay, you have a conspiracy.
That this is not a coincidence.
So the nation was founded on
beef.
cows.
We are a beef nation. The United States is a beef nation through and through, and that's why we look the way we do.
It's true. You're right.
If you remember U.S. history, we invaded Mexico, and we won.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, we had people in their capital.
Yeah,
we didn't keep it. Do you want to know why? So we could keep the shape of the cow. That's my theory.
That's exactly. You know what? The more you talk about it like that, the more I'm on board, honestly. Because the only thing is, like, the head of the cow just doesn't look like a cow.
What do you mean?
Like what doesn't look like a cow.
Okay, so do you see the it says Maine is the snout. The top of Maine is the nose, the bottom of Maine is the lips.
Oh, I see it. I see it now. I'm turning
and then like the top of New York is the top of the head, and the back of New York is its ear, and then
how the hell did you think about this?
Massachusetts is its jaw.
Did you just one day shift the map a little bit and you were like, that's a thick cow? Like, that's exactly what you thought.
Aaron, if I knew the answer to that question, I would be a lot smarter. No, because I don't think a smart person would think of this to begin with.
Yeah, I don't know about that. That's up for debate. If you're a smart
it was
person.
probably something I thought about when I was younger, because I've always thought this. And then it's a kid.
It's funny when I look at it normally. When I look at it just straight on, I don't see it. But the minute I turn it a little bit and I look at the mooing,
it's the mooing that sells it. I think
I see it, and it looks like the United States was probably pretty mad that they couldn't just get a little more of Texas to make it more of a rounded hoof.
Yeah, like Florida is.
Yes,
just like
Florida. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm never gonna be able to sleep now. Thank you. Well, what about Hawaii and Alaska?
Shit, they're pieces of shit.
They were added in after after we started making burgers. They were after.
It's Alaska. Alaska is the gas, the methane.
Okay.
And then and Hawaii is a trail of dingleberries that we have shit out of our country
from the cow.
Yes.
That's brilliant. I love that we're built on meat, like burger, like meat.
Beef Nation.
Beef Nation.
Hashtag Beef Nation.
And methane gas. That was your first thought. Like those are the two things that the United States is built on: beef and methane gas. Which honestly, you're not far off. So,
you know, you never know.
Well, thank you for that absolutely insane pitch. I don't conspiracy. I hope everyone goes immediately looks at a map and they're like, oh wait, they're kind of they're kind of right. Which I did.
If you're just listening and you don't believe me, please look it up, because I genuinely think I believe this. Otherwise, wouldn't have brought it up. So.
Oh my god! All right, let's move on to Is It Weird?
Okay.
So we have a few Is It Weirds to do real quick before we hop into our interview. The first one, there's no explanation. It's just a statement. All right.
All right.
Is it weird to like the smell of my own sweat?
Huh.
I want to hear
Wait,
your thoughts.
that one's a statement?
It's a question, but there's
Oh,
no
there's no
description.
explanation.
Yeah.
Um, I want to say no because it is weird the amount of the smells that my body produces that I would be offended of if it were somebody else's.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I'm just like, I don't mind it.
Yeah.
But sweat is the one thing, like BO, the BO that comes from sweat, like a sweaty shirt. It's the one thing I'm
It's
like,
bad.
gross.
Sweat itself, I don't like. I've never smelled sweat itself. It's always on a human being, so it's like a mix of the sweat on the body or on the shirt creating that smell.
Right. It does sweat.
So that you're saying you like your own BO.
That's what I'm hearing.
And I hate that.
Yeah, have you ever gone?
Yeah, and then go. Yeah, opposite of that. That's exactly what. Because if I smell any okay, a slight tangent here on the side.
All right.
I hate BO so much that if I ever smelled something bad on me, I carry deodorant in my backpack all day to every class that I've ever been to. I've had deodorant in my backpack ready to go in case I thought I smelled bad.
I think that's smart. I think more people should do that.
Is that crazy?
I think I don't think most people would do it, but I also do it.
I think most people should.
I have put on deodorant during the middle of a lecture.
Okay, I've never done that. I've gone to the bathroom to put it on, but
No, I will go.
Wait, it's like hitting me now. Just you're in class.
I've done it in a class with you.
Go.
People don't notice. People won't notice.
You
for
did
whatever
it.
Reason. I've done it next.
You usually sit in the front of the class.
Oh, well, I don't do it from the front of the class.
Well, I think I've only been in classes with you where you're in the front.
No, I sat behind you in Barnabas' class.
Oh, you did it in Barnabas?
Definitely.
Okay, but you could totally get it away. You could totally get away with that in that class.
You could get away with just about anything.
Yeah, that's true. You could have said, I'm putting on deodorant. Nobody would have looked at you. She wouldn't have cared. Nobody would have looked at you. She's something else. But yeah, more people wear deodorant. You're weird if you like the smell of your BO. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with weird, but not as weird gets. It's gonna be that's like if 0 is normal and 10 is you really need psychiatric help.
I agree.
I'm gonna put this at like a 2 or a 3.
Okay, that's a good rating. Yeah.
It is weird, but it's not terrible.
On to the next. Is it weird that when I drink water, I have to drink the entire glass at once?
Yes.
That's very weird. It's how are you alive? That's
what do you mean?
Like I drink water constantly during the day, and if every time I had a sip I had to drink the entire, like, I guess I wouldn't drink as much, but it's still like you're not supposed to chug an entire glass like super fast. Like it's not good for you.
I'll tell you what, and it's scary to watch because one time I had my friend over. I gave him a glass of milk, tall glass. I swear to God, he did, as if nothing happened. He went,
oh, and he chugged it down,
and then he put it down, and he went, so what do you want to do? He didn't know. He had no clue. No clue. It is terrifying.
It's like, you know those people with
what are
like
those burps
the plastic bottles that just like will crush it and they just
see, that's impressive.
Down. That's impressive because there are people that can just like open their throat and do it, but you were doing like they're chugging, right? So they're chugging. Like, different.
Aggressively chugging, aggressively swallowing milk, but with water.
Milk is 10 times worse to be chugging that milk. But yeah, I think this is very strange. I don't know why you would do that. Like, why do you have to finish it? Something is wrong. Something's wrong up here that you have to finish the whole entire glass at once.
Yeah, I don't know where that comes from. I would be worried. See, you couldn't drink coffee like that.
No way.
You would go from.
Yep.
You know, you go from 0 to 10.
I think that. Do you think that when they're filling up a glass of water, they only fill it up a little bit because they know they'll have to finish the whole thing,
That'd be the smart move.
and then they have to keep going back to the fountain
to get their exercise in, get their steps in.
I don't know why I said
get
fountain.
my steps in for the day.
It could be fountain. It could be a sink. I don't know.
It could be. It could be. I thought of it.
I guess in my opinion, I just need to know if this is a bottle, like if they do this with bottles too. Because if you every time you open a bottle of water, if you have to down that whole thing, I would just go dehydrated.
Yeah, you ever sneak a bottle of water into the movie theater?
No, but I've snuck Taco Bell in there.
That's cool.
Which is the best. It's already mushed up anyway. Just put it in your pockets and you're good.
You could probably massage the shit out of Taco Bell and it would look exactly the same.
Exactly. Like, it would be the same. You could compare.
But what I'm saying is, like, if they pulled that bottle of water out of their jacket in the middle of a movie and went,
yeah, right. And everyone's like, what is going on?
You're not getting away with that. There's no way.
Oh my God. Especially during a horror film. Like, that would be at one of the scary parts, you just hear like all of it.
It'd probably be like, that sounds.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound.
That sounds suspicious. Oh my God.
Well, teenagers dropped it. Mom dropped them off.
Well, I just think that this is like absolutely preposterous. How, like, I don't even think that this is a real thing. How dare you drink an entire glass one time?
You're mad. I'm offended.
Maybe they're just angry at water. Like, I can't have this in my sight, but I need it, so I gotta finish it right now. Okay, so that's all we got for Is It Weird today, because we're also running out of time. So we got to get over to our interview with Marley Striem. An incredible interview. Make sure that you watch through the whole thing, because honestly, I was like almost getting emotional listening to her talking about the emotions behind the song. So it's a must-watch interview. Thank you again to Marley for coming on, and we will talk to you next week. Let's see if Lucas can top his story next week.
I probably have a bunch, and I just don't know that they're good stories.
Probably, because I can't believe you didn't even remember this one, and this one was fantastic. So.
All right,
let's send it over. All right, everyone. Today we have Marley Striem on. You might know her from her TikTok videos. You might know her from Instagram or her latest single, The Space Between Us. How are you? Thank you so much for coming on. I'm so happy that you were able to join us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm great. How are you guys?
Doing well. We're doing well. I'm glad that people are getting some vaccines now, so hopefully some live music might be happening soon. That'd be pretty great.
Absolutely. Totally, yeah.
So thank you again for coming on. We're just going to kind of jump right into it. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about. I thought the best way to start would be your single. You're an independent musician yourself, just like Lucas and I are. So that's kind of the whole point of this podcast. But so The Space Between Us, tell us a little bit about the process of writing this song, because I know that you released like 3 different tracks, but one of them is the main song, correct?
Yes. So The Space Between Us is a 3-track EP, with the middle song being my main song, Space Aligns, and the 2 songs on each end are instrumental interludes. Okay. So I wrote Space Aligns back in August, September, in a very like state of like raw emotion. It's crazy, actually. I always feel like sometimes you write in the aftermath of your feelings, but I was like writing in the current, and I actually ended up putting the song away for a few months because like I kind of had to like live through my feelings before I could write about them. So I picked it back up and I finished the writing, started with acoustic guitar and just vocals, voice memos back and forth to my one friend. And Christmas Day, I upgraded my equipment and I was like, I'm producing this, and I want it out on February 4th. And from that day, nice. I, worked every day, completely self-produced. Like I had a few help a little bit with Space Lines, like for my 2 friends with mixing, but it was such a cool process to be able to create something based on such pure emotions and put it into something tangible, like a song, so I could kind of pack up everything I was feeling and send it out in a more beautiful light. But the instrumentals were like a big thing for me because although I'm a singer, like I'm primarily a bassist, and that meant the most to me, like over the lyrics, over the vocals. So the production part was like super cool because it happened fast, but it's because it clicked and it just worked for me.
I mean,
yeah.
that's the best when a song just clicks and like
Yeah.
you feel like it's effortless. There's honestly no better feeling.
Absolutely.
But so the emotion that you bring to this song, I actually, the way you put it was probably the most beautiful way I've heard it said. That just like you
Thank
were like
you.
in the moment, but
Yeah.
you usually write after the moment. I've never really thought of that until right now. So thank you for giving me that.
Aftermath.
I'm gonna use that all the time now.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Awesome.
But are you like more of a set a date and then get it done by then type of person, or are you just kind of creating all the time and whatever happens happens?
Well, this is my first release as a
Mhm.
songwriter. So I found as a musician who does like a lot of session work for other people's music on like a weekly basis, I always prioritize that because I have deadlines and payments. So like I need
Yeah.
to like fulfill them. And writing's always, I've never studied it really, and it's always been when it feels right. But I also hope because of the music I listen to and the type of music I play, I've held myself to a high expectation.
Yeah.
So it's often in the past it's like not been good enough, or I haven't really known how to produce it. So, and I've not wanted to do it outsource. I wanted to like learn myself in
Yeah.
some ways. So like, what was I gonna say? Oh, so with this song, it was more of like, I don't know. I let the writing part take as long as it needed. And once I knew that all the words felt right, I didn't look at them again. And I was like, I'm sick of these words. I've been working on this for so long.
Yeah.
But now I have a different thing to do, and it's like session work for myself, and I'm gonna get it done by a certain day. And my friends were like, or my music friends, they were like, you need to distribute this before you start marketing a date. And I was like, no, it's gonna get done before then, so it doesn't matter. And
Yeah.
I started, that's the crazy part that no one knows, is that I started marketing the song Space Aligns before I had distributed it, and it was the scariest thing I ever did.
Yeah. Well, honestly, that's super smart, because if you don't, I feel like it took me a long time to realize that. But until, the song is done, like finish the song. And then if you don't distribute it for a few like months, even like wait, because you have the time to build up that anticipation for the song
Yeah.
coming out. How did you end up doing that? How did you promote it? Did you use, obviously different social medias, but how did you do that?
So I think the biggest part was I had to find a way to work with the audience that I've built on Instagram primarily. And that audience was people who like to watch me play bass covers.
Yeah.
And I needed to work with that and still please them. So like I would do covers, bass covers of my song, like Victor Wooten style chords, see if people like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was like a really like cool way of getting people to like find an interest when they really just wanted to see me as a no personality, just I'm playing bass for you.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like I talked to a few people like who are in marketing, and like they were saying like you don't show any personality. And I think as also like a young girl, I've always been kind of like scared to like just put myself publicly out there as like an individual and not just a bassist. So that was the biggest thing with marketing the EP, which originally was supposed to be one song. It kind of became like a game. Like I kind of had to, you have to think of yourself like your own brand, as like cringy as that sometimes feels when you.
It's true.
Yeah. But the other part is like you have to like act like in moderation. You have to act like you're Justin Bieber. So you have to do those leaks, like people, even if people don't care about your music, you're excited about it. And I found that if I'm excited about it and I like leak it because I think that's cool, like people will eventually like really pick up and they'll like it too. And that's how I got my audience to, like vibe with my bass, vibe with my music, like be down for both when it's time. Like,
No, I like that. And so like with the beginning of your song, like we'll talk about your bass stuff, trust me, we'll get to that. But at the beginning of your song, does it start with like a voice memo? And then on the third track, there's like a voicemail. Like what were those about? Who were in them? Was that you or?
Yeah, no, well, no one's asked me about that, honestly. So pretty much the EP itself, just like for the breakdown, so it all makes sense, was supposed to just be Space Aligns. And it's a story about, in as vague as I can be, like the aftermath of, ending something with someone who, while being still in love, because that's like a very powerful feeling. And the idea that meeting on the other side, like even if things end, like one day they will pick up again. And I tried to allude to the idea that to orbit around a planet would be such an unimaginably long distance, yet you would do it at the speed of light, so it'd be so fast. So I tried to like use that like crazy contrast, that juxtaposition to
Mhm.
talk about the feelings I had. And I loved the idea of like space because it's like
Mhm.
counting my stars, like things like that. Like it fit the vibe in a
Yeah.
literal way and a figurative way.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, I'm writing a song about a breakup, like borderline, like
Mhm.
in simple words, more than that. But I couldn't think of a title for the song. I didn't want it to be a lyric. Like at
Mhm.
first, I hated it all. I thought it was cringy. And I realized that I speak my story best through instrumentation and
Okay,
not
yeah.
lyrics. So I was like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm gonna make 2 interludes. Like literally, I was almost done with Space Lines, and I was like, 2 more songs. Like that's how I'm gonna figure it out. Like I liked the space between us, but that didn't fit the name of the song itself. So I was
Mhm.
like, I'm gonna think of 4 titles instead. So like,
Yeah.
so I wrote that intro track, which is
Mhm.
kind of like the precursor to my story. So like in my mind, like Orbit is what love feels like. It's adrenaline, it's overwhelming, you're obsessed with it. It feels
Yeah.
euphoric, perfect, like that movie scene type feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
And um I wanted people to feel in love, so it would hurt even more when they listen to Space and Lines because that's how much it felt like to me, I
Mhm.
guess. So
Mm.
Orbit,
Yeah.
that original that little passage in the beginning, it says it's actually from like years ago. It's my friend talking about some random story, and I don't know
Okay.
why I had it on recording. She goes, they've been hitting a rough patch, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool because I'm gonna go into this like euphoric moment, and then I'm gonna like tell you my story about afterwards, which is like the
Yeah.
main part. And that whole the space between us is like the space between Orbit and Revolve, because Revolve at the end is like the feeling. It's like the grief feeling because the last
Yeah.
few lines
Yeah.
of Space Lines are my heart beats you flatline, now I'm grieving. So I kind of got a little dramatic and made it feel like, losing
Yeah.
someone you care about is like grieving, and
Mhm.
their heart flatlines while you're still beating, and it's like that losing feelings even though you didn't think you ever could. So
Mhm.
Revolve starts with a beep that I don't know if everyone notices, but it's supposed to be the flat line, like the heart beating, and then it dies in the
wow.
middle of the song.
I didn't
And
notice that. I noticed a lot of things. I did not notice that.
Yeah, so that's like supposed to be like the pickup from Space Lines. It's the flat line, so it's supposed to feel like it goes beyond like the story of Space Lines, and it more just talks about like the way I felt in the past few months, like
Mhm.
going through just like with COVID, like a lot of family things, like mental health, like the way depression sometimes feels when it hits you, but then coming
Yeah.
out of it, the beat picks back up
Wow.
at the very end of the song. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like you get through the dark patch, you come back to life, and like I found myself again almost. So that long voicemail is from many years ago, someone very close to me, she sent it to me when I was away on a trip, and she was
Mhm.
just checking in, and I went back and I listened to it, and I was like, these are all the things I want to say that you're not supposed to say when a relationship ends. And I was like,
Okay.
why not the after now? If I want to throw it in, like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I really like the tone of, and like her tone in the message. I thought it really connected to like the way I was feeling. So yeah.
Mhm. That's the
great.
stuff I live for. Like the layers of stuff that like you don't hear. I love that shit. It is the best.
I
Yes.
love like so much concept and like construction and like almost world building. You're like developing a story arc of emotion for the user to take. I like that.
Thank
I
you.
feel like a lot of people don't usually think about that. They're like, oh, here's my song.
Yeah.
Listen to
Yeah.
it. Like
I want everyone who hasn't heard your song to like watch that little clip of everything that you just said before they go listen to it.
Yeah.
Because I'm
It's
gonna
important.
go back and listen to it with a whole new view on it.
Totally.
And
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. You also there were a lot of things that I did notice in it. I also are you like a big John Mayer fan?
Yeah. I love John Mayer.
I did get a lot of like his kind of vibes. Like, did you play everything yourself, by the way?
So Space Lines, I played everything besides like a very barely audible acoustic guitar fill in the left pocket or whatever it is.
Okay, yeah.
But Orbit actually, that guitar solo is my one of my best friends, Alex Spangler, and he's
Okay.
also heavily influenced by John Mayer. So I'm not surprised. Like we're going
Yeah.
through for that like bluesy feel, but yet that like Tame Impala like beat
Gotcha.
crashing.
Yeah.
Mm.
That was, I thought the entire thing start to finish was amazing. And you said you, so was this your first like production that you did yourself, like as a producer?
Yes, this
That-
was my first time.
That's incredible that you
Insane.
were already thinking about all the layers that you wanted, because I
Thank
think
you.
that takes a long time for producers to like even build up the courage to not have it just be like, all right, here's my bass, my guitar, my drums, and here's my vocal.
But
unless
Thank you.
Do you like mess around with it otherwise, or was it like you're like, oh, I need to learn how to do this for this song?
Well, the most knowledge I think I had going into it was like spending the past few months doing bass covers and bass for other people's songs. And
Yeah.
I've always been, even though I haven't produced before this, a very like active listener as a musician. Like I'm always down to like deconstruct a song beyond lyrics and like way more like what I just said, like the way instrumentals can speak to you the same way words do. So I kind of used what I listened to and replicated that. The hardest part I had was with mixing Space Lines. I mixed the other two on my own, but Space Lines, my like friend Andrew Lucas, he has music on Spotify and everything too. I've like done a lot of his bass work. I would compose for him a lot. And I've always loved the mixes, even though he writes prog music, totally different. But I just knew that like the clean mix that he used, like I knew he could pick up on what I was doing, even though we were playing totally different genres. And I worked with him a lot. Like he did one mix, I was like, change XYZ, like we're fixing it all. And then like, you know, it just came out so perfectly, and that helped a lot because I did it with him. So that was cool to learn with.
Because like a lot of times I've had this where I have one or two people mix a project, and song to song they do not line up or they don't fit together. I mean, it probably has something to do with like all your planning. This transition from the first song and the last song, seamless in the way like they all fit. I mean, they all hit a different emotion, but they all hit a same atmosphere, like place, kind of.
Thank you.
So that's cool. That's great. That sounds that good. And
thank you.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Was it like was the plan for this just to be a single, or is there like more stuff in the works that are going to be similar to this in the future? Do you have plans for the future with certain songs, or what should we be looking forward to as listeners in the future?
Oh, well, I've thought about this a lot. Like after making those 3 songs, I was like, wow, there's like why not make this an album kind of thing. But for me, like I said, the way I wrote it, I don't think I could ever like write about this from where I am now unless I'm writing about like the point I'm at now, like with everything on an emotional level. And I kind of don't want to like unpackage it again. Like something about releasing that turns some emotions that were hurting me a lot into really beautiful things again. Like once again, really brought back the things that I love about those feelings, because I can listen to it in a song that I'm proud of, that makes me feel good, that I, you know, like poured my heart into. And I don't think I want to continue it anymore because I don't want to tamper with it and, you know, shift those. Like I said, I made it tangible. It's like I put it in a box and put a bow on something that's like delicate. So I think I'm leaving the space between us as what it is, you know. But I have a few projects that I'm doing with other people. Not exactly sure about dates, but I definitely will have new music coming out. I've been working on a few songs right now, and like they're definitely in early like lyric writing production stages. But one of my close friends and I have been working on a lot of music together that we want to release an EP for the beginning of summer. So hopefully that deadline works.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm very excited because the way that you talk about your music, it's very rare, in my opinion, to find people that have talked about it the way you have the past few minutes. So I'm very excited to see what you do next, you know, along this path. But let's move into some of your bass videos because I just think it's awesome. Like your bass videos are always so dope. Like your covers are sick.
Thank you.
And I have to give you a big compliment on your stank face.
Yeah. That's. I mean, it's important to plane. If you don't have the stank
grimace, like, you're feeling it.
I gotta do it somewhere if I don't get to perform these days. Like I gotta show someone.
Yeah. You have to do it. It's a must. I think it makes you play better, honestly. Like I feel something comes over you, you know. If your body's not into it, what's the point of even doing it?
Honestly, I always look back, and when I like a few months ago, I was like, I need to stop. Like I look crazy, and I'm like, like, I can't help myself. I don't even know when it happens.
Yeah, the music takes over. But you said that you started out as like an instrumentalist, right? So the bass, was that your first like instrument that you learned, or like what was your journey to becoming like a bass player? Because I feel like not many bass players on like TikTok or on, you know, not many bass players are on their own, you know. So like,
totally.
How did that happen?
There's a terrible joke that's like every bass player in a band is the worst guitarist in a band.
Yeah. Classic.
But bass is good. I started on bass.
Oh, awesome.
I love bass.
Yeah, I actually started when I was very young, like singing, playing piano, back and forth, classical, no classical. Like I've
Mhm.
never been forced into like by my family or parents or anything like a musical path. It's always been very like supported, encouraged, and like self-driven. So
Nice.
I've always loved to sing and play piano. And then there was a point when someone like not a music teacher, but someone a musician adult close to me, she was like she should play bass. Like she has the rhythm, the feel for it. Like I
Mhm.
guess maybe it has to do with the stink face. I don't know. But she was like, she shouldn't pick up guitar. She should play bass. And I was like, okay, I don't know. Like I had honestly, I was never someone who had like a desire to learn guitar, and I feel like most kids do. So
Mhm.
I was like, okay, yeah, I'll try it. And I started, playing around on bass, learning things on my own, watching
Mhm.
videos, songs I liked. And then it blossomed. I actually moved from Brooklyn to New Jersey to a more of a suburb, which was really like hard for me at first because I really was attached to the city. But
Mhm.
I found that being in a suburb, you notice that people have more time to commit to programs and things. I feel like I never like stuck with one program in a city because there's so many opportunities. But
Gotcha.
I
Yeah.
joined School of Rock, music school here
Okay.
in New
Nice.
Jersey, and I started taking private lessons and I started playing in performance groups. And that's when like I started to take like a real liking to bass. And it
Mhm.
was only until I started playing by like not it was honestly like a scheduling thing that I got put in a new wave School of Rock performance season, and I was like, I don't want to play this music. But then it was harder, and I started
Mhm.
like beyond classic rock, started like getting more into harder bass lines, like working on my technique. I started growing a relationship with a private bass teacher, and I realized like I'm gonna do this, and this
Yeah.
is my instrument, this is what I'm good at. Like I'm gonna be the best at it, like I'm gonna be the best bassist that people want to hear. Like,
Yeah.
and then with that, I did the reverse, picked up guitar, sure, but like bass I've been playing for 7 years now, and it's grown. It's all about like all the different genres. For me, if you were to ask me what my favorite type of genre to play for bass, it's metal and prog, and it's like
Okay.
Sick.
favorite type to music to listen to R&B for sure. Like it's
Okay.
it
So it's all you're all
fluctuates.
over the place. That's good
Yeah,
though.
yeah. So exactly, yeah.
I feel like I mean, because I saw you were playing a jazz cover like the other day, so it's so cool that your taste is so widespread because I feel like that helps you in your own music, your own production.
Mm.
And so I guess my question is when you're able to perform, right? So when you're eventually able to get out there and perform, are you going to be playing bass and singing? Or are you playing guitar and singing? Like what do you plan to do?
Um, for me, I would definitely say it depends on who's playing with me because
Gotcha.
I love playing in a band. School of Rock has nurtured that love.
Mhm.
And when I go beyond it, like I will definitely bring that with me. Like I know what types of band settings I like to be in. Like
Mhm.
it's also taught me to be very sophisticated in my approach to like music events. I'm
Yeah.
like I will always come out like prepared, and I'll be very like mature. Like if I'm playing with another band like and they're like all best friends and I'm like just their bass player, I'm just their bass player. Like I will do like whatever they
Mhm.
need kind of thing.
Fit the
And
mold, yeah.
yeah, playing bass and singing is hard. Playing bass chords and singing is fun. People don't it's less people don't like to watch it as much is what I've learned.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, but like I really like playing acoustic. I like the acoustic versions of my songs. That's another thing. I may release stripped versions of Space Line, but I can't decide
Okay.
yet. Working on them. That
Nice.
could come really soon. But I like playing acoustic sometimes,
Mhm.
but I love just playing bass like for a band, for other people's bands, like other people's original music. Like
Mhm.
the first thing I do when I get on stage next will be being a bassist for people.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. And so like you play a lot for other people, you said. Is it like are you playing in like studio sessions like every week? Like are you constantly just being called up for to play?
Well, with COVID, I've like created a really cool system. Like on my Instagram, I've got a lot of people reaching out with their songs, and I've created it so it's like, okay, let's talk and tell me about your song, tell me about your creative direction. Because the thing that's cool about being a session bassist is people don't know what they want with bass. Like they know they need it,
That's
and they
Mm.
very true.
know they want it to sound good,
Mhm.
but they don't want it to take over from their vocals, and they don't want it to be boring. So
Mhm.
they pretty much want to hear like slapping, but they don't want to hear slapping. They want to hear something else. So
Yeah.
I love doing session based work. I've done it over quarantine. That's when I started.
Mhm.
The way I do it is like I'm like, send me your song. Let's talk about your vibe. Like you can send me songs that you want to compare it to. Like you could
Mhm.
just talk about like the mood, and I can usually figure it out. Or if there's technical musical terms that you want to put it in, like I want to hear that. And then
Mhm.
I'll take a listen to the song And I get lucky most of the time. What people say to me is they're like, yo, I dig your playing. Like, just, I trust you. Like, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So I'll, you know, see how I can fit in my thing in a tasteful way, yet appropriate way that lies the foundation, yet stands out. Because I'm assuming like people like my playing because like I'm gonna add something else to it usually. So I'll usually record bass like from home virtually. It's like so easy. I'll do my tracks in my DAW and send them back isolated so people can drop them in dry or mix. Sometimes I'll do tone, sometimes I won't. And then either we'll do like a round of revisions if there's like parts are in a fix. And I am happy to say I've never had to do more than one round of bass revisions. Usually it's either I'm like people like it. I give them options where I maybe don't play like the same bass line for every verse and I play two so they could cut it up and choose one or mess around. Like some people like more heavily producers like to do that usually. So it's really like a personal process because sometimes I'll like Zoom with musicians and like we can talk about it if you don't want to just email about it. But it's been a really cool virtual thing that once again I can do from my bedroom for people. So yeah.
That's so cool. And it's funny that you said like lots of people don't know what they want with bass, which is very true. But like all the greatest songs in history have just such memorable bass lines, you know? So I feel like it's so important and it's literally the base of the song. Like you need it. But I mean, it's super cool that you're able to do this over quarantine, you know, with everything happening.
That's great. You don't have to do a lot of revisions either. I've had it where I've come in, I've written like a whole solo and then they're like, no.
I've gotten that too, though. It's what's taught me, though, because being that I listen to so many different genres of music heavily, like all equally, it's very eclectic, has shown me what different types of musicians want. And usually, even if it's not their other songs, I can tell by the way they describe their songs, like what type of bass they want. Like, and I learned, like I'll say my first session work during quarantine, and I'll totally credit her because she's like amazing musician, her name's Brooks, Broox. We have a mutual friend from when I was younger, but she's older than me. And she was like, yo, you want to write bass for my song? Like, I'll pay you. And I was like, oh, like, I've never done this before. Like, and the first version I sent her, she's like, I thought it was like crazy cool because it was more like bass solos, higher octaves, like different, like versatile techniques. And she was like, no, like this is not what I'm thinking. And then we sat on the phone for 2 hours and we talked about the meaning of the song and everything. And like immediately I was able to notice that when you're working with singer-songwriters, you need to like prioritize their vocals and like and then fit in because most listeners don't notice the bass until it's gone. So that's like really what you have to do is like, but make it a little bit more memorable.
I feel like there's it depends because sometimes there are musicians who are like, God, I just want it to be my voice. Like that's the center. But
exactly.
You need a good bass line. Like
always.
But at least they're honest with you. You know, that's important because, you know, it's their music. Of course, they want what they want. But
I did the same thing when I started because I haven't done a ton of session work, but I remember like the first time I came in, I'm like, oh, I get a chance to like show off my skills as a guitar player. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to put in all these fancy things that you might not hear normally. Like, this is my chance. And then they're always like, no, like, you aren't serving, like, in a matter of terms, like, they say, you aren't serving the song. And they're right.
Exactly.
So
it's like they don't want you. They want your playing. And that's why I brought up the singer-songwriter because she said to me, she's like, I want a cool bass line. So I thought I made a cool bass line, but I made a cool bass line for not that song. Like cool bass line for maybe a different song. And that's what it comes down to is like, what is someone's idea of a cool bass line for their song?
Yeah. And I mean, that's great that you were getting paid for it too. I mean, that's so cool. Do you usually get paid for your sessions? If you don't, you probably should.
Thank you. I established my rate, which has been like a really cool thing because I'm definitely awesome. I'm young, so like I will always like flex it with people, but I go by the hour. So like usually I'll be like, let me take a listen to your song and see how long I think it's gonna take me, and then I'll tell you how long it's gonna take me. And usually like I'm, like I don't know, like it works pretty well, and people are really like, it's a very like thrilling thing to be. I'm not in college yet. I'm still in high school, and like getting paid. Like, some of my friends work in restaurants, whatever. I'm getting paid already for something that I love, and like it's like people like my music, and it can be a passion and something that I am getting something from,
Yeah.
which is really cool for me, like not being in college yet. And
Mhm.
it's like preparing me a lot for like the future when I'm doing more of this stuff in a more not on my own in my room kind of way.
Yeah. I mean, that's even more impressive that you're doing it in high school. Like that's insane.
Thanks.
But so to move on, because we're kind of running a little bit out of
Yeah.
time, but I want to talk about your kind of the reason you were gaining this following on TikTok was because you did this New Music Friday thing. And so from people that don't know, it's you created your own playlist for independent musicians to send you their songs that they just released, and you made your own version of New Music Friday. What prompted you to do that? Like, what was the whole idea behind it?
Okay, so there's two things. It started with I was like, how the hell am I gonna blow up on TikTok? Because I know I can
Mhm.
do it, but
Yep.
how am I gonna do it?
Yeah.
I was like, I cannot be Blue to Tiger because she is already Blue to Tiger. So I'm gonna have to figure it out somehow. So I was like talking to some people in marketing who are like mentoring me, and I'm learning a lot about how people really like when they can take something out of what you're
Mhm.
making
Yes.
and they
Yep.
can gain from it.
Mhm.
And I love making Spotify playlists, and I took every opportunity with this release to get people to my personal Spotify account to follow my playlist of other people's music, because before I was releasing music, I was literally just trying to like I think of Spotify like social media. I literally just wanted people to follow my playlist. So
Which is smart. That's
I get
brilliant.
such a joy out of it, honestly. So with New Music Friday, I was like, I want to be able to like promote other musicians. So I made
Mhm.
an in the making playlist to start, and that really got people's attention. It got almost 50,000 views, and thousands of people sending me their songs and
Yeah.
me listening to them. But I use that playlist as a space for, okay, you're sending me like I don't like it doesn't matter what it is. I'm
Yeah.
gonna put this on because I want people to hear you, because I want people to hear me, and I know how that is.
Mhm.
And people just really like that. Creates a cool dialogue and builds a really strong niche when you're first building your social media page.
Yeah.
Then I got placed somehow. I don't know how. I did not submit for it, but I got placed on Alfie Templeman's New Music Friday when my song came out.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, like,
Yeah.
like, I was like,
That's
that's
so
really cool. And I was
Yeah.
like, checking it out, and I was like, that's a great idea. New Music Friday when you're an independent musician, and
Yeah.
showing people what they like. And when I released my EP, I released a playlist with my inspirations for The Space Between Us, which people really liked, and I got a lot of messages about the playlist itself. And I was like, I'm not doing New Music Friday. I have a twist on it. It's like it's not just New Music Friday. It's like Marley's week of music.
Okay.
So I included some old stuff on there that it's not necessarily all that week's release. Like
Okay.
it's a mix of classics that I listen to. I'm always trying to find deep cuts
Mhm.
and resurface them for people.
Yeah.
And also spotlighting independent musicians, spotlighting well-known musicians that I like their new songs, just like getting people to listen to some of the things that I'm listening to, because it's never going to be one genre. It's always
Mhm.
eclectic. There's lots of stuff. So I started that last week. So I'll have a New Music Friday out tomorrow or
Nice.
Friday. Yeah.
That's
So,
so
yeah.
cool. Well, I love that idea. I'm actually
Thank
very
you.
happy that you did it because I took a listen to the first one, and it's so cool. Definitely opened my eyes to a lot of new
Awesome.
musicians. But that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for coming on. It was great talking to you. Like I said, talking to you about your song, the way you were talking about it, it just gets me so excited for your future stuff. So I can't
Thank
wait to
you.
hear it all. And when your stuff comes out again, like your new stuff, let us know. You can come on, promote. But thank you so much again for coming on, and we wish you the best in your future music endeavors.
Thank you for having me. This has been so cool, and I can't wait to share more music with you guys.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll talk to you later. Thank you so much.